been some striking news in the last couple of weeks since we were last on.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you tell people what that is?
The striking news was, I believe before we came on, there was a committee hearing yet to go. We went through the committee process in the Senate. There were no amendments. Senator Rogers did express some discomfort with the legislation and wanted to make sure that our current statute allowed us to spend east of I-65 and throughout the entire watershed. She put that language in a different bill. That bill supposedly has passed, from my understanding, which we believe we already have that ability. If she wanted to clarify it, that's fine. And then actually the commission sponsored a resolution showing that we were going to do a study of the entire watershed, something that hasn't been done, but that study will show problems, whether it's Maryville or Crown Point or wherever, and so we can sort of identify some areas that we can work on and ultimately affect everybody, not only those municipalities, but the Little Cal and the Deep River and Burns Ditch.
The crux of the situation, though, is that everybody is still going to pay $45.
Correct.
And
here.
we had Mayor Uran in here,
yes,
and he was pleading his case that indeed Crown Point, Hobart, Lake Station, parts of Maryville should pay less, and that did not fly. As a matter of fact, it so did not fly. As far as I understand, it was 50 to zip to push forth that everybody pays the same.
Right, and I was surprised when I saw the vote come down to 50-0. I mean, you have a lot of conservative folks down there that don't like taxes of any sort, and it still passed 50-0. But I mean, and I know you've talked about regionalism here, and we've talked about it, but I think truly this is going to be the case study in whether this can work in Lake County, whether any other regional effort can work. We have a lot of pressure on the commission that's coming in to make sure that everyone gets a fair piece and sees some positive difference in their lives or in their water as this goes on. And that's how I view it, because if this doesn't work and if this fails, we fail the people get flooded, but we also fail any other future endeavor that comes down the line. In Lake County, you're talking about 911 centers. You're seeing some apprehension. I mean, although it's law, but people aren't used to in Lake County to working well. When there's a disaster, we all work very well together. But when it's dealing with things, it's difficult. There's some small victories, but this is probably one of the larger projects that Lake County will face.
Management of all the water in Lake County. Mm-hmm. Is basically what you're talking about.
And it's going to have to be a collaborative effort between us and the local municipalities that have stormwater boards. There's only one, I believe, that doesn't, that's within Little Cal, and that's Cherville. But still, Cherville, has a council and a town manager that deal with water issues and the surveyor's office, because it's going to have to, what we're hoping is that this study is a roadmap similar to what Porter County has done, is a roadmap to say, here are our problems. So if this is our biggest problem, whether it be in Cherville or Hobart or Crown Point, then this is the number one we have to dedicate our resources to, because we're going to get the biggest effect of this. And the best I can use for is Dyer. Dyer's done a great job, but Dyer gets their water from Illinois, and so they've been working with the folks from Illinois to slow the water down so that it doesn't crush, lack of a better word, Dyer and flood them. We're all based and we all are sort of related to the people that are to the south of us. So as Lake Station goes, they've got to watch Hobart. Hobart goes as well as Turkey Creek feeds into them in from Maryville. So that's what I've always said is if Maryville does a wonderful job of dealing with their water, they're putting more pressure on Hobart, and they have no mechanism to sort of fix that. They can't stop it. They've got to deal with it. So what we should do is develop this study, give it out, and let's work through the solutions or work through the problems to get to the solutions that we need to.
Yeah, but you see, I guess the question is, I mean, each of these communities has a stormwater board, and then you have a Lake County surveyor with George Van Til's office, and then you have the Little Calumet River Basin Development Commission. It sounds kind of convoluted.
It is. It is convoluted. I'm not going to deny. I mean, the surveyor's office has regulated drains, and I'm sure they've gone through the process of what's regulated, what's not. If you go on, I think the website, the surveyor's office, it's sort of a patchwork. What's regulated, what isn't, and then it leads to where Deep River is, in Deep River in Lake Station. I went out there, what was it, Friday or Thursday of last week to see Deep River and 29th Street in Lake Station, where those mobile home trailers were destroyed. You see a dam there that is just full of debris. And our philosophy as a commission has always been get the water down before the rain event happens. So clear it, make sure it's as low as possible so that when a rain event does happen, you have the best possible way to solve it. And I'm sure, Lake Station would love to fix that, but they probably are financially constrained by the same thing that every municipality is. So I think what we will ultimately do is enter into an agreement with Lake Station and say, hey, we'll go over there, we'll fix this because it ultimately will help Hobart and Maryville and Crown Point because of the blockage that's there. It's something that I didn't believe that existed, and when I saw it, I couldn't believe it, and it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, but all of a sudden you're going into areas that are not the Little Cal.
But we ultimately believe we've had authority to do so, and if you want to get into the legality of it, we always thought that there was that possibility we could do it. The only issue that we couldn't do is fund ourselves through that, and so we were very limited because we had to concentrate on this segment of the Little Cal. So expending money outside, although would be helpful, we would be constrained by the fact that we wouldn't be able to match the federal dollars to do the project. It's
convoluted. Let's go to a phone call.
It's confusing.
219-845-1100. Hey, George, thanks for holding on, buddy.
Hi. Danny, what's your status now under the new legislation and the commission status?
My status is, I'm assuming the same. The commission still hires, and the statute still has an executive director in there until they, tap me on the shoulder and tell me that I'm done. I'm assuming I'm still there. That's the premise that I'm working off of.
Is that annually renewed?
Actually, right now I have a 30-day contract.
Okay, but the commission, is it going to be expanded, or is any changes? I mean, is it just kind of grandfathered in and just got more board members?
Sure. The way I read the commission is the original 5, which is governor appoints the 5 members, is still in place, and that includes the 1 representative from DNR. Starting in July 1st, 2 representatives will be from both, one from the city of Gary, one from the city of Hammond, with the appointment coming from the mayor and being approved by the governor, and then the 2 other commission members will be from the Lake County Commissioners. But there's a slight twitch in there where it says you cannot have more than 1 from any community. So it's sort of going to see how the 5 shape up, and then Hammond and Highland, or Hammond and Gary, are out. So then I'm assuming the commissioners' appointments will come from sort of mid-county, probably Crown Point or a Cherville or a Hobart. I wouldn't say Hobart, but someone in that area from their appointment, because you can't have more than 1, and then you can't have more than 5 from 1 political office. So if the governor's Republican, you have 5 Republicans and 4 Democrats.